So let's get into it, guys. Today we got Daniel Green back on again, and you just came back from Thailand. You were drag racing over there, and you're about to go to India for more car stuff. You travel the country for car stuff. You have probably a pretty good understanding of U.S. car culture at this point from watching your journeys across the states.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know, would you say it's very different across the states, or is it pretty unison?
Yeah. Honestly, I think the West Coast has not caught up with the Midwest and East Coast, speed-wise, technology-wise. They have the technology on the West Coast, but I just don't think they have progressed. And I'm talking like small tire, no prep stuff. We have that, there's that stuff all over the Midwest. Or Midwest, East Coast. There's events every weekend. Over there, I'm talking Oregon, Washington, California. They have events maybe, once a month. So after that, it's like test and tune stuff. So
yeah, even when I've been out to Vegas a few times for some of the races there, the cars that show up are very sparse and kind of just built, not purpose-built cars. They're more just hot rodding to hot rod.
Yeah.
Instead of around the country, people build cars with I'm going to run this class, and then you build a car.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They kind of just build what they think is cool and then hope that they fit a class.
Yeah.
It's weird because they obviously have the same technology as us. They're not. They're not like a third world country.
Yeah.
Depends who you ask.
And that goes across the board with gas and diesel. Diesel racing over on the West Coast is, I would say, 5 to 7 years behind. Just because they don't, they're not fluent in it. There's a couple guys that have crossed over the Mississippi River and got the technology and ran back with it. But the majority of West Coast racing, I think they're light years behind.
And it's so funny because so much of hot rodding started there in California area, and even the big guys are still out there, Edelbrock and Banks and stuff. Some of them are starting to move now, but they're still heavily California oriented companies.
Yeah, for sure.
But yet the racing scene, even their drag strips are closing, their tracks are closing, and somehow they're just in this alternate country of ours.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, it's interesting to travel the country and see the dynamic changes in racing classes. The Midwest, Indianapolis area, they're really into bracket racing. Down in Texas, you don't have a ton of bracket racing. It's more like grudge racing type stuff. So it's interesting to travel the country and see the different dynamics of it.
Even in Florida, I always talk to Jimmy Dale about this, and he races every weekend. He races, and I'm we just don't have that much racing compared to what they have in Texas. He has 12 tracks within an hour of him.
Yeah.
That always do small tire, not really prep, but you can run a radial.
Yeah.
And here it's it's sticky tracks only.
Right.
Sometimes.
Right. And down in Jimmy's area, they have outlaw tracks all over the place.
Yeah.
And I say all over the place based off of Florida or, different areas of the United States. Texas
per capita, they have a lot more than most places.
Right.
Those small eighth mile that you can go 550s pretty comfortably, but then when you try to go a little faster, it starts to get.
You're
it's just hairy because they're not as safe and secure as some other facilities.
Right.
And that's not to talk down on them. It's just
that's what their demographic is.
There's a level where you probably don't feel comfortable anymore.
And it's cool, speaking on Texas, is you go to Texas and their 770 class is huge. They build 770 cars for that. And it's a huge, it's not super fast, which I don't know why all racers just want to go fast. Why can't people just be content on 770 or 670? I'm not an index racer. I don't like index racing, but there's always someone trying to push the envelope a little bit further.
I think the only time I really get behind index racing more is on drag and drive stuff.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it's a lot of work to go drag racing, and to index race just takes a lot of the fun out of it for me.
Yeah, I would say.
As difficult as it is, everybody's always oh, it's so hard. I'm I get it.
Yeah.
But just because something's hard, that doesn't mean I enjoy it.
Right.
Like, you know, like mowing my lawn is hard sometimes, but like that doesn't mean it's the fun of it.
Right. Being a dad can be hard sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I get it.
Yeah.
I get the joy of it, and I think cutting your teeth on it, like getting into the sport like that is probably the best, but it's just not my cup of tea. Unless it's a drag and drive, then I get it.
Right.
And I also get like 850 index because your cage gets...
Yeah, definitely.
You run out of cage, really.
Yeah, most definitely. All my vehicles are going to be 850 bracket trucks and cars. So
That's pretty much where the big ticket fab work gets.
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
Like 850 cage, like, okay, you could do that for a couple grand.
Yeah.
750 index, 650 index, it starts to be like, okay, we're cutting the whole floor out and building a chassis.
Right.
And it's like,
and you can't buy a bolt-in kit. No, I wouldn't say a bolt-in kit. Sorry, you can't buy a weld-in kit for 750 or 850 and faster.
And you can, and even if you could, like some people do sell them for certain cars,
right?
But you might as well just go to a fab shop and they'll just make you one anyways,
right?
Because if you're going that far, you might as well just have it custom to you. Because I have cars that has like a kit car cage in it.
Yeah.
And I just don't quite fit as well. It's just like a little less ideal.
No, it's true.
So that's always my recommendation. If you're going to have a fab shop do it anyways.
Yeah. It's just like buying a suit, though, you know? You don't just go buy a suit. You try to get it tailored, you know, to your size, so.
Funny, I was actually just talking to one of my buddies that bought a suit here locally.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, like, cool. Like, they went and measured him, and then they're like, yeah, we just have somebody in Thailand make it and ship it back.
Okay.
I was like, wow.
I wonder if I met that person.
Yeah, I was like, of course. They just outsource it to a foreign country and then have them send it back and hope that it's right after like 8 weeks.
I know why, though. Because when I was...
So you just got back from
Right.
And so did Parker, too.
Yeah.
Recently.
And that was one of the reasons why I went. But I know why they would ship that guy's suit over there and ship it back. Because when I went over there, the cost of living over there is literally probably 60% less than here. And I wouldn't say there's a huge adjustment to your living conditions. So
standard of living.
Standard living.
About the same.
Pretty
food
much.
Quality kind of about the same. Housing.
About the same.
About the same.
Yep. About 60% less.
But yeah.
You know, and when you go over to a country like that, and I didn't know anything going over there, you know, on that aspect of things.
Yeah.
And you're paying, you know, $6 at McDonald's for a hamburger, and it's the same exact quality as here, which is not great, but whatever.
Might be better quality there.
Yeah. it kind of hits you in the gut. You know what I mean? It's like, how can we pay $10 or $11 for a meal, 13, and they're paying $6?
Yeah.
For the same, dude, the French fries taste exactly the same. So it's like, what's going on here?
Yep. I can tell you my theory, and it's probably overregulation in any state, and, you know, anytime you want to do anything, it costs thousands of dollars or more because you got to get permits and you got to get this and that and health checks and this and yeah, that probably adds to some of it.
Probably. And a lot of people don't know though, but in the United States, like this microphone was sold 3 to 4 times before you got it. You see, between a wholesaler, distributor, retailer, getting it over here.
Yeah.
And everybody has this 60, 100, 1,000% markup. So there's too many hands in the pot, I think.
Yeah, there's very little direct-to-consumer on things.
For sure.
That does not help us.
Not at all.
And most of it, this microphone, as the example, probably came from somewhere in that general area. At least some of the parts probably came from somewhere in Southeast Asia.
Right.
So it's to be expected that somebody over there profited from the microphone a little bit.
They profited. The guy that imported it profited. The distributor profited. The guy that you bought it for profited. And that's where the markup, I think that's where it's out of control.
Yeah. I would imagine our, you know, politicians profited the most out of anyone.
Probably.
They probably got the biggest chunk of the pie.
Surely not my pocket.
Yeah. But so that was one of the biggest shell shocks to you there. And then the people, obviously, their cultural differences as well. So that's always an interesting change.
It was, but I'll tell you what, though. Motorsports, globally, the culture, the ambition, the pride, the heart is the same. Those guys, dude, we put in 20-hour days for the first 4 days we were there putting a truck together. Like, that was remarkable. I'm like, don't you guys want to quit? They're like, no, we're not quitting. I'm like, the transmission has been out 7 times. Like, we can definitely, just hang this one up and we'll go get video somewhere else.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're in it. So that part of, like, the culture, dude, it's remarkable. It's humbling to be able to travel on the other exactly 12 hours on the other side of the world, and the culture is the same.
Yeah.
Of what I'm used to.
Yeah, like going to like a big ticket drag race where they're working 20 hours straight through.
And there's grit, you know what I mean? Just like in drag and drive, like, we don't give up. Mm-hmm. And so that was really humbling. Like, when the truck got on the starting line and I knew all the work that we put into it, it was pretty.
So what's the story on the truck then? So I saw the photos. It's some silver.
Silver Isuzu truck. It's 4-cylinder inline, 4-cylinder diesel.
What is the engine?
It's out of so over in Thailand, every truck's a diesel, and they're all Isuzu or Toyota. So it would be equivalent to the Isuzu engine out of a box truck here in the United States.
Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah. So like in the bigger cities, you have the flat nose box trucks.
Yeah.
It would be equivalent to one of those.
Okay. So we do have them here.
We do have
Isuzu
them.
Makes like Duramaxes.
Yeah.
For people that don't really know, like they're pretty big engine manufacturer across the board.
For sure. The engines are here. The technology's here.
Yeah, it's the same with like what Parker has in his Thai boat. Is his is a 4-cylinder?
Yeah, it's 4-cylinder.
Oh, is it?
We actually assembled it up in Indiana for him.
Yeah, at
Wagler's.
Wagler, right?
Yep. Yep. So, and that was kind of I wanted to go to Thailand, and then Kyle 1320 went, and I was a little, honestly, I was a little bit discouraged because I was like, damn, dude, I wanted to go, And then Parker and I collaborated on the engine build, and then that kind of opened up the door for more conversation with those guys over there, and so that just solidified that I had to go over there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Kyle's trip was pretty awesome looking.
Yeah, it was.
As well, so I can imagine seeing that, getting a little wind in the sails though too, because it looked pretty awesome. But he did document it so well, you almost feel like you didn't have to go.
Yeah, I was like,
Kyle's good at that.
He is, and
He's a documenter.
I was like, damn, like I wanted to go and I wanted to document like he did, and then he did it, and I was like, huh. All right, well, I'll have to wait my turn.
Yeah. Knowing Kyle, he probably took 50,000 photos and videos because that's how Kyle is.
That's how he is, yeah.
So the 1320 videos on Thailand were pretty top tier.
They were.
I would say. Good. And then there's even people like CB Media who's over there.
Yeah, for sure.
And he does a great job documenting.
Huge kudos to that guy. Dude, that guy is the one that brought light over to this side of the globe on what they're doing over there.
Yeah, because he's like from Atlanta and he just fully committed to moving to Thailand.
Yeah.
Sure, there was some other reasons obviously behind that aren't publicly talked about very much. Not like nefarious, I'm assuming, just, probably some reasons to move to Thailand, I'd imagine. I can't imagine up and leaving the U.S. to live in Thailand. It just seems wild.
I will tell you one thing, once you go over there and you experience it, and you and I have remote businesses where we can kind of work anywhere, you would probably enjoy it, dude.
I don't doubt I wouldn't enjoy it. I just don't know if I could pull that off. I don't know if I could sustain being away from the country, the
What do you like? What would you be missing though? Like, what are you fearful? What would you fear you're missing? Let me tell you if you would or not.
Americans.
Now, okay, okay. So, being in a country where you don't speak their language I was over there for 11 days. Flying into Japan and hearing someone speak English, I was like, "You're my brother."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, that would be probably my main, the mothership that I would, like to stay by is Americans that speak English.
Okay.
And feel like I actually belong, I guess, not like I'm a trespasser in a foreign country.
Right. I can see that.
I don't know if I would like that feeling, like feeling like I'm at a place.
Yeah.
Because you probably felt like you were at a place.
The first couple of days, yeah.
I'm sure they see a white dude walking around. They're like, oh.
Yeah, it was
you stand out.
It was, but with that being said, everyone's asking why you're there.
Yeah.
And, marketing 101, this is why I'm here. So,
should have had like an FBI jacket on.
I should have.
Really? Some kind of badge.
I
gain some respect.
I could have
instantly.
Just have FBI right there, or
just,
CIA.
Yeah, like I actually can't tell you.
I can't tell you why I'm here, but I'm here. What do you want to talk about?
And you get abducted.
Well, that could happen because I plan on going back. So, no. So back to the truck. Yeah, it's an Isuzu inline 4-cylinder diesel. The chassis is pretty much pro mod. It's full frame rail, but it has like bars everywhere, 4-linked.
Yeah.
Front suspension's not stock. But I ended up buying a truck.
Not that one.
I bought that one.
Oh, you bought the silver one.
I bought the silver one. Yeah. So I was interested in purchasing a truck like that because that's kind of my realm. That's my background. And the opportunity came up, and when you can buy one of those trucks for a quarter of the price of over here, sign me up.
Yeah. Are you confident in the tubing that this chassis is made out of? Are you confident in it being appropriate thicknesses or matching NHRA standard?
If and when I bring it over here.
Because, that's what I assume it will come over.
It will. We have a couple goals that we want to meet over there. We want to set a couple records. Mm-hmm. But if and when I bring it over here, it will be for exhibition passes only.
But exhibition passes could still be dangerous and
still
require the amount of safety, right?
I don't
know how fast a 4-cylinder diesel truck, I would assume, is not that light.
2,700 pounds with the driver. We cut a 126 60 foot, and we're shooting for like an 850 quarter mile.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, it still needs all the safety.
Stick shift, right hand drive.
Mm-hmm.
It does. But if we get it over here, I'll have to put 850 cage in it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it looked like it had like a funny car hoop in it there.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have funny car hoop. It does have a 850 cage in it, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, do I really want to go and race at a NHRA sanctioned track?
No, no one does.
Right. Or can I go to a little quarter mile track and not have to worry about it?
Absolutely. I was more thinking personal safety.
Oh, personal safety? You and I know the risk when we strap into it.
Absolutely. Try to mitigate as much as possible.
We do.
But we all do know the risk.
We know the risk.
Yes.
I got a safety harness on. I got a Kirky seat. I got my helmet. I got my fire gear.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all we can do.
We're strapping in, dude.
Yeah. My thoughts on cages is I try to just be confident in the guy building it.
Right.
Rather than the person that techs it, because they kind of they kind of just squint their eyes and ask you what bars there are.
And that's, dude, I don't want to get off our main subjects, but that's kind of a trend right now, honestly. It's quite sad. Tech in drag racing the standard's quite low right now.
Yeah, well, my whole thing is the only person it's protecting is me, so anything I slip by isn't like, I didn't sneak by
Right,
someone.
right.
I put myself in risk.
Yeah. Yeah, most
It's personal
definitely.
protection. It's like if you use a grinder without glasses on, it's like,
Yeah.
well, you didn't beat the system. You just
Right.
did something dangerous.
But if you go to a marginally big race and you get your car teched and it barely like slides by, the guy's like, just don't do this again, Cooper.
Yes.
But why are you letting me this time?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I get that.
I get that a lot.
I've been there too.
A lot of tracks I go to. Why are you letting me this time? I'm not. Hey, thanks for letting me race because I put thousands of dollars into this trip, not just a car, but thanks for letting me race. But you're also supposed to be that guy that says no.
Yeah, and I've always, had the idea that a tech guy could shut down the entire race
Yeah.
and have no cars pass if they really
Right.
wanted to.
Right.
Because the book is so thick. There's so
Yeah.
many things. There's
for
so
sure.
many, like people don't realize you need like locking wheels, like valve
Yeah.
stems.
Yep.
Like you need like all kinds of like weird little things
Right.
that somebody's going to miss. Like
Yeah.
if you really combed through every car at any
yeah.
race,
Yeah.
you could get every car to fail.
Right. And I'm just speaking in general, like obviously major issues, they're not going to let you,
Yes.
majority of people is not going to let you race. But I do think the industry standard in the United States has gotten quite lenient.
Yeah, and I think it's a mix of cars accelerating speed,
yeah.
like the speeds that they've accelerated
Oh.
so quickly, not like how fast cars are, but from like a 10.0 car, what used to be fast,
Oh,
to
yeah.
like a 7.0 car is now like
And-
all over the place.
And that's why my stuff's still parked, because it's like the rapid growth in speed is just, it's not appealing to me anymore. It's like,
it's boomed.
yeah,
Very
if I want to
quickly.
be competitive, I got to be 7.0 or sevens in the quarter mile.
I think it boomed, but it's coming to an end because it can only you're running out.
Right.
Like we are running out of
Right.
there. We can only go so much faster
Yeah.
before it's just physically not happening.
True.
More people can go faster.
Yeah.
But the top guys are only going to inch up slower and slower
For sure.
because what are cars going like 370s are like a good Pro Mod
And Pro Mods,
X275
yeah.
or RVW car
Yeah.
like a 59 I think.
Yeah.
Going faster than a 359 is a monumental
for
ask
sure.
on a tire like that.
For sure. With two tires.
Yeah.
No, we're not talking all-wheel drive or anything like that.
Two
Two tires.
fairly small tires.
That's just
It's a
crazy.
monumental task
Yeah.
to even maybe my small simple brain can't fathom it.
No, and
But-
again, that's why my stuff's parked, because I'm like, I'm not doing that. And
like-
it costs a lot of money.
Yeah, and the imagination of seeing like a 320 at some point is just unreal. Obviously, nitro cars go faster and
Yeah,
stuff, but like
that's.
it's such a different realm.
Yeah.
It doesn't even.
I can't even relate to those guys.
Yeah, it hardly even counts. I'm more talking about like a small tire on
Yeah.
traction that doesn't cost $10,000 per pass.
Right. No, for sure.
Maybe only
So,
costs like $4.
Yeah. So safety wise, again, you know what I mean. We know the risks to it. So
Yeah, we all take our own comfortable risks,
Right.
and the track takes their insurance as
Risk.
their risk.
Right.
That's their level of
Yeah.
risk is what insurance says they should do.
and so hopefully when it comes over, it'll be fast when it gets here, because we're taking a lot of American technology and mines over to Thailand. So.
Yeah. So what did you show up to? So you had this car built, or did you buy it?
It was
already
already
done.
There was a shop that was struggling. They built the truck. They were struggling, so I got a killer deal on it. So when I showed up, the truck was already there, had a motor in it. We ran into some transmission issues. The clutch that we ordered, the splines didn't line up. We didn't know that for like 3 hours. We're just trying to shove it in there, and yeah. So I showed up and seriously, it was like VIP service. I showed up. They picked me up from the airport, took me to the garage, which is like 100 by 100 open air garage, and the truck was sitting there ready for me. So,
and it was like turnkey, ready to start,
yep.
Just fighting with like little things to get it track ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was turnkey ready to go. Mm-hmm. So, obviously besides transmission issues, but nope. And we went to the track.
Had it ever made a pass before that?
That truck never made a pass before.
Okay, so it was new.
Brand new truck.
Okay.
Yep.
Was everything like up to kind of what you expected, or did you go over there and you see some like hokey things on it?
No,
or was it
dude,
like
it's well fabricated truck.
Yeah. Interesting.
I went over there and I seen pictures, but it's the communication barrier is not easy when it comes to motorsports. Mm-hmm. Like day-to-day conversations, Google Translate works great. When it comes to motorsports, not so good. Yeah. So asking for certain pictures, you don't really get them.
There's a lot of slang and motorsport specific words that aren't Google translatable.
So I seen the chassis. I seen brief overviews of it. I seen the progress of them putting a motor in. I thought it was still on leaf springs because based off some rules that I read, the class that I thought we were running needed to be on leaf springs. But I showed up and it's 4-linked, has built rear end in it. I was like, okay, this is something we can work with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where did they, I mean, obviously they're not like, idiots. I hate to talk like they don't know what they're doing, but like where did they get some of this like 4-link stuff, like bar angles and bar lengths and like things like that? Like bracketry on the 4-link, like that kind of stuff interests me, like what it looks like.
So a lot of the trucks in our class, I think they pretty much have them all, the bar angles all like pretty much the same because they all, most of the trucks act the same coming off the line. And so I showed them the 4-link calculator on the computer, and they were like mind blown by it. I'm like, yeah, we measure the holes and we figure out where we need to have our anti center and all that. You guys don't use this? He's
That'd be a little alarming to find out that they didn't know.
No.
Like for you, I'd imagine you'd be like, come on, bro.
Well, this was like the last day when we were sitting around talking about the truck. I was doing a bunch of measurements because I'm talking to some small tire guys here trying to get, some insight on what we can do. And so I did a whole bunch of measurements, and he's like, why are you doing these measurements? And I'm putting them into the calculator, and he's like, yeah, I've never seen that before. I'm like, well, this is how we do it.
So nice of you to bring them technology.
Yeah. So they don't. They put the truck on corner scales. They scaled it, and then they adjusted the anti-sway bar according to the scales.
Yep.
And it went 126 off the trailer, 60 foot. So.
Interesting. That was actually my first thought when I saw the photo of it leaving and it was twisting. I was like, I would just put a bunch of turns in that.
Yeah.
And I roll back there.
Yeah, and I went over there as a guest. Mm-hmm. Now when I go back over there, I'm going to go over there with some knowledge. I'm like, all right, guys, that was cool, but this is how we're going to do it.
Call some shots a little bit, try to adjust things. Yeah.
Right.
How much testing were you really able to get? Like, was it track like pretty open? Was it?
Friday night was like an open test and tune. Mm-hmm. So we got 4 hits at the track, and we went, our fastest time was 126, 60 foot, 570 in the 8th, and we did an 880. And I didn't personally drive the truck the first couple times because the driver, the other guy, he knew a lot more about those chassis than I do. And I asked him, I was like, at some point the truck like nosed over at some point, like where did it nose over and how can we fix that? So we're going to bring them that kind of technology, G-force meters and stuff like that, so we can tune the truck to make those adjustments.
Yeah. I mean, that's fast though.
It is.
It's a fast truck, especially for a little 4-cylinder diesel deal.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have a turbo. Yeah, you got a turbo in there.
Yeah, turbo.
Okay, so the inlet of that turbo is the size of the whole turbo. It's like 50 millimeter turbo off of they're off the Isuzu truck, but like to put it in perspective for people, I would say off of a Volkswagen Jetta or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, super small.
Turbo diesel, turbo deal, like very small. Yeah.
And that class is turbo size limited, so that's all we have to work with.
How is it on importing stuff over there? Isn't that where the kicker? Like exporting stuff's a little cheaper, but trying to import like a turbo would be pricey.
Dude, they have like a 70% tax on stuff.
Yeah.
But there's always a way around it.
Sure. You could just smuggle one in, right, and then bring it back out.
Well, they have a full haul tax system over there now.
Oh. That's a nice addition to the truck.
Yeah, most definitely.
So are they putting what was it on before?
It was on my diesel truck here.
But what was the ECU that the truck was on?
Oh, it's running off of a stock ECU.
Okay.
And my truck here still runs off of a stock ECU. We just use that program to data log everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much on a diesel that you want to... The diesel ECU options are very limited.
Yeah, there's only a couple.
Yeah, and they're pretty pricey.
The stock ECUs are getting pricey, but like the aftermarket stuff's like, geez, you don't even want to touch it.
Yeah.
But the aftermarket ECUs is what got the diesel industry into the 4s and the 3-second passes. So,
yeah, me and Wyatt have had pretty extensive conversations on ECU tech on diesels and stuff, and he just went to a full Bosch system on his car.
Right.
Which I know he wasn't thrilled to do.
No.
But he knew it was the right move.
Right. And if he stayed with the stock ECU, he wouldn't have went 550s in it. So
that was the problem.
Yeah.
But again, it's
money.
pricey. But he had like 12 boxes before to run everything.
Right.
You know, he had like all kinds of stupid things that had to run different things. And
that's what I like about these new aftermarket ECUs, dude. Everything's in like 3 boxes. You run everything.
Some are in 1 box.
Yeah.
If you got a real nice ECU.
Yeah, my pockets aren't that deep though.
Same.
I went to Thailand for 11 days for $3,700 total, including plane tickets. So.
Wow.
So I'm trying to find the cheap areas to fly, you know what I mean, to go to. So to get the thrill out of motorsports.
I'd assume Thailand is probably one of the lower cost trips. And that's one of the things that everybody keeps saying now is like, it's cheaper to fly to a foreign country than it is to take a U.S. vacation.
It is.
Like,
it is. By far.
You go to freaking California for the week and it's going to cost you $10,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're
only
not
12 hours of flight, but like.
But you're not going to be happy at the end of it.
There might be more poop on the streets.
Right. Right. And that's one thing. Okay. Over in Thailand, it was clean. It was nice. A lot of dogs.
A lot of dogs.
Yeah. A funny story about that is, so we took the Thailand river boats. You know, we went on little joy rides, whatever. But we were cruising back to the port through the canals, and there's dogs like laying along the canals, just hanging out. Mm-hmm. And I asked my friend, I was like, hey, dude, do you think dogs speak the same language as they do in the United States? And he's like, I don't know, try it. And so I started barking at the dogs. As I'm going by, as we're flying by, I'm like barking at the dogs. Some of them got like aggressive and started barking back, and some of them just didn't even phase them. And I was like, yeah, he don't speak my dog language. There was a lot of dogs, though.
That is so weird that they're just like, I mean, it's the same when like you go to like Puerto Rico and stuff like that. There's just dogs all over the place. Maybe it's an American thing that we actually don't have wild packs of dogs everywhere. Because I think even like places like Russia have packs of dogs all over the place, and they just kind of roam.
Yeah.
They pack up and they start
taking over the block.
like gangs. They just happen to be dogs.
For sure.
It seems like a common thing.
But the dog, well, based off my knowledge, barking at a dog, the dog will bark back.
Usually they do. Mine probably will. Mine will just try to get pet, but they're domesticated dogs.
Okay.
I haven't come across many wild dogs in my day.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. Maybe there's not many wild dogs in this
Probably not in your neck
part
of
the country.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Does anybody live in a part of the country with wild packs of dogs? Because I'd love to hear about that.
That'd be cool.
I don't know if it'd be cool, potentially a little sad, but definitely something.
Be interesting.
Yeah.
Cool as in interesting.
Yeah. So one thing that I always found funny too is the power lines all across.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Dude, like
they need like a new wire. They just like.
Yeah. And one of our Airbnbs was like right next to like a major power line. I bet you there was 100 or 200 coaxial cable. They look like coaxial cables.
Yeah.
I'm like, so every house has their own like coaxial cable going to it.
It's just anarchism. You just run what you need
And they're not braided together all nice and, you know, fancy. They don't have zip ties all over them or anything like that. It's just, dude, they're just ran.
It's amazing how that somehow works.
It works.
It seems scary.
And there's no interference. You know, sometimes if you put cables next to each other, there's a frequency interference. No. At least I didn't think that it didn't seem like there was.
I mean, if you had electricity at your Airbnb, it seemed like they were doing pretty well.
Doing
right?
pretty good.
Interesting. Yeah.
They look like coaxial cables.
They probably were. They probably were just whatever they could run, like whatever they had. Because again, if your importing is so expensive, you're just going to import less and you're just going to reuse what you got, which then ends up in a dangerous situation of just using whatever you got.
It happens over there. It happens.
That's one thing that I've seen a lot. When Parker's boat came over, I was like, you know, messing with it and helping him out on a thing. I wasn't really helping. I was standing by and criticizing him as he worked.
Yeah.
Just criticizing Parker, not the boat.
Okay.
Just Parker. Yeah.
All right.
And it was fun. It was a good couple hours.
It can be easily done.
But some of the things that I saw that they were doing were so interesting on it, and it was clear that they were just using anything that they could.
Yeah.
Instead of like just, you know, if we need something, we just go out and buy it.
Right.
You don't use what you have as much.
And that's the difference in cultures. You know, we have the luxury of just going and buying it, and they are like, ooh, well, this is only 2 inches too short, but we'll use it anyways. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, even some of the fuel system on that, and like, I think there was a timing belt used for where the prop lays and stuff.
Okay.
It's just like, okay, I mean, I guess, yeah, you got a timing belt, no reason to go get a piece of rubber.
No, why you need a bungee cord?
Exactly.
Those things are like 10 times as much. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure you saw a lot of that. The ingenuity, you could call it.
Yeah, they definitely use their brains a lot more over there.
Yeah. Was there anything else you were like, oh, we need to get that in the States? Thai food? We already got a lot of that.
Yeah, but
There's quite a lot of Thai food in the U.S.
Yeah, but dude, I'm a picky eater. And that, like, I never ate Thai food before in my life. Like, I didn't go to the Americanized Thai food just to dabble in it before I went. Yeah, so that was a little bit.
You didn't get your feet wet and condition yourself for a few months?
And when I went over there, I ordered, like, a bowl of something, and it was a soup, and the soup tastes like dirt water, and I was, like, done after that.
It probably was. Dirty.
Probably
was slightly dirty.
So I stuck to beef, rice, and a little bit of pork. I didn't dabble with any chicken.
Yeah, pork tends to scare me more than chicken. Yeah.
I didn't get that memo.
Yeah. I mean, pork is often like more wormy, I would think.
Okay.
Usually, I mean, chickens are pretty clean animals from owning chickens.
I'll take that advice.
Pigs are pretty dirty.
True. It's true.
Pigs tend to be dirty sometimes.
Yeah. So stuff that I would like to see here in the States, I would like to see their driving style a little bit more over here in the States. Dude, everybody drives crazy, like super crazy on the roads. Like,
you want more of that?
Yeah.
Well, you're in Florida now. You're about to go to Miami, right?
I know, dude.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's basically Thailand.
Okay. Because I think I've seen 2 accidents. I passed 1 million cars.
Yeah.
2 accidents. I think there needs to be more. I think there needs to be a little bit more reckless driving. So people actually learn how to drive.
I would say it probably helps from, again, I've never been to Thailand, but their vehicles are not 5,000 pounds to 9,000 pounds.
True.
An accident with a 2,500 pound K car is not quite the accident in a 6,000 pound Cybertruck.
True.
I would think.
True. But
I'm no genius.
But if everybody has to drive the same way, quote unquote, recklessly, then you gain experience on that type of driving.
Yeah. Well,
So you're more of aware.
how much enforcement did you see of
None.
of a law?
None. Dude.
Did you see anybody pulled over for driving?
No cops. No cops. I asked a guy that I was with, I was like, where's the cops? He's like, they're at the police station. They come out when you call them. We don't call them.
I like that route.
Dude, there was no cops. And you seen more ambulances than cops.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I'm all for that.
Now, at the racetrack, there was security, and I also went to a circuit race, and there was security there, but like out in the streets, no. No.
So it's pretty much, I wonder, like, is there written traffic laws where it's like, hey, you can't speed like that? You can't make a right on red or whatever?
There's signs, but they're not enforced. Dude, if you're going 50 kilometers an hour, the guy next to you is doing 120 kilometers. Yeah, you better just get off the road.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of two wheels as well.
True.
So that probably keeps down on the danger of an accident. Like, the accidents could still happen, but when it's a scooter crashing, it's not quite as violent.
But that guy's a skilled scooter driver, though.
Yeah.
Dude, weaving in and out of traffic, like, you got to be skilled. And I think that's one thing, like, our culture has robbed us of, is being able to learn, you know what I mean, as with experience.
Was there more of a barrier of entry to car ownership and scooter ownership there, or is it just everybody just gets
I
a
think
scooter?
everybody gets
Not like barrier of entry of like government, more like cost barrier
No.
of entry. Just
everybody has a scooter.
okay, makes sense. I didn't know if it was like he had to really make it.
No, everybody
Before you had
everybody
yourself
has
a
some
Vespa.
sort of scooter, and there's 3 to 4 people riding on a scooter, and that was the other thing.
Family scooters.
They're family scooters, but at the racetrack, 2 guys riding the same scooter. Laughed about that one.
Yeah, were they butt to butt or nut to butt?
It was nut to butt, but there was a little gap. I did look because it was a little bit like, ooh, there was a little bit of a gap. But you know as well as I do, here, one of the guys would have rather walked. He'd be like, nah, dude, I don't need a ride, I'll walk.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Over there, hey, dude, jump on.
Yeah.
All right, I'll ride with you.
Yeah, we don't have the culture of scooter sharing that they have.
No.
We're just not quite on that level.
Yeah, they got family scooters. They got all types of
But
people
the
riding
U.S.
scooters.
never really had like a scooter culture. Like tons of countries seem to have a scooter culture of like, and by scooter I don't mean Razor scooter or electric scooter.
Yeah.
I mean like
Gas-powered scooters.
gas power
Moped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no, for sure.
When you look at foreign countries like South Asia countries, mostly it's all scooters. Even like Middle East countries, I think, are pretty heavily scootered.
But not even in like the big metropolitan areas like Los Angeles or New York.
Yeah.
No scooters. Minimal scooters.
Some bicycles, but that's so different.
Right.
Like the scooter culture is pretty cool.
It is.
I'm not against it.
It is. And they modify them. Titanium over there? Dude, everybody has titanium.
Is it real titanium? I was wondering.
Oh, yeah.
that. It's not just like painted aluminum.
No, it's real titanium.
Interesting. Where did they? I mean, that's not cheap.
It's not cheap to us.
Yeah, but like
Maybe cheaper.
titanium's just not cheap in general. Like it's hard to get.
But I don't know. I didn't ask
It's a precious
the question.
metal.
I didn't ask the question, but aluminum might be harder to get over there.
It very well might be.
I don't know the politics of it, but I'm just assuming. But
Much of the U.S. titanium came from Russia for most of our space program and most of our skunk works and stuff like that. CIA secretly bought it from Russia because that was where you got the titanium.
that's where we needed it.
So when I think of that, I'm like, well, it must not be that attainable, but
Right.
maybe now it's more attainable. I mean, I've bought titanium for my cars, and
Yeah.
it's not the cheapest of materials.
No.
But again, it might just be because of where it comes from that the U.S. doesn't have good relations.
Possibly. There's a lot that goes into it for sure.
Yeah.
That goes into just buying that cell phone. There's a lot that goes into.
They like
different stuff.
mirrors, it looks like, too.
A lot of mirrors.
Like rear view mirrors.
Or no mirrors.
Or no mirrors.
Yeah.
Either all the mirrors
All
on the
or
vehicle
nothing.
or nothing.
Right.
Okay. Is it like a sign of wealth to have more mirrors?
Could
Is it
be
a respect thing. Like, wow, that guy can see everything.
The guys that I was hanging out with didn't acknowledge the mirrors, but that guy that has all the mirrors on his semi, he might be the in the hierarchy with his semi guys.
Yeah.
Those were pretty cool trucks though. Like they're like 10-wheeler trucks. They're pretty cool.
It's interesting, and like I'm thinking about some of the stuff that Kyle posted pictures
Yeah.
of. And I'm wondering, like, the guys that you were drag racing with, maybe look at those guys and they're like, oh, that's stupid. Like, we look at, like, a guy
Yeah.
with, like, a charm hanging from the back of his car,
Right.
like, anime, and we're like,
Yeah.
that's stupid.
Right.
They probably have some class of
There is
vehicle owner
There
that
is.
they're like,
They definitely look at it like that's a little silly. Why are you guys doing that?
I would hope there's some level of, like...
Mirrors and mud flaps on the semis, like, dude, I'm talking the mud flaps stick out like a foot past the, like, you're not getting a rock chip on your
Where do you
truck.
think that comes from? Like, how
I
does
have
that,
no
like...
idea. I have no idea. Like,
Where does that trickle down from? Like from somewhere else in the world, or just like
I have no idea. Like, at what point did someone say 200 mirrors on your semi and huge mud flaps was cool?
And we're talking dozens of mirrors.
200 mirrors, easily.
We're not talking like 4 mirrors to see.
No.
And like exhaust pipes, but we have that here, the stupid exhaust pipes, but not quite.
No, but a majority of our semis don't have, the mud flap literally is probably like 4 foot wide. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
It almost feels
You
like...
have to steer out of the way on the road to miss the guy's mud flap.
Because it's sticking out that far.
Yeah.
It almost seems like they didn't have a way to enforce people having mirrors and mud flaps.
Yeah.
So they used government propaganda to like make it a cool thing.
True.
And then suddenly it just stuck. And then people were like, this is the cool thing. Because they had no way to enforce people having mirrors and mud flaps.
True. Just like super wide tires on a guy's truck.
Oh, don't get me started on a dually. A dually that has tires that stick out past the fenders frustrates me.
Really? Okay.
It angers me. You have all that fender. You can keep them tucked in.
Keep it in there. Keep it in there.
It's not a difficult concept.
Yeah, so the guy that has 14-inch wide tires is the guy that has 14 or 4 foot wide mud flaps over there.
So if you have tires that stick out past your dually, you are the same type of guy in Thailand that has excess amount of mirrors.
Yeah, for sure.
The dually guys, to me, I always look and I'm like, oh, dang, he ordered the wrong size, the wrong offset.
Right.
Like, that sucks.
No.
I hate to do that.
No, and a dually is a work truck. It's a work truck.
I mean, there's a lot of fender to keep the wheel and tire combo under that it seems easy enough to keep it under.
Under, yeah.
Even
you got a lot of play in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving a pass to non-dually people either.
No.
Because they also should keep it under unless you really need to.
Moderately. A little bit of a stick out, like 2-inch, it looks okay. But a guy that has 12 inches outside of his deal.
Maybe I'm a boomer, but the concept is to keep my sides of my truck from getting mud sprayed on them or rainwater.
Your dad.
Maybe that's maybe that was like when I imagine a car having fenders of any kind, it's to keep the spray from driving in the rain from getting on the sides of my vehicle. The doors.
All right. We're going to agree to disagree because I put wheel spacers on a brand new truck because I wanted the tires out just a little bit more.
But do you notice that it now gets dirtier?
Yes. You have a valid point.
And my truck's not clean.
I'm not going to say this very often, but the manufacturer was right. Kept the wheels inside where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, it is amazing that they understood that concept that so many seem to miss. On like your drag truck, that's all-wheel drive. Absolutely, I agree.
Right.
Obviously, you can't fit them under the fenders, and I would hope that you don't do some sort of over fenders that keep them under.
Yeah,
I get it.
Put a super single on. There's a truck out there. It has dually fenders, and it has super single like semi tire under it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So he did not want them poking out.
See? It's a man of class. That's my type of person right there.
Right. That's my type of guy right there.
So back to Thailand. Okay. What else really caught you off guard there? Mostly just the food.
The food definitely caught me off guard. The cost of living, like I said, at least 60% less. We were getting hotels for like $25 to $40 a night. Real nice hotels.
Yeah.
The hospitality, I don't know if it was because I was a foreigner or what, but the hospitality was just astounding, dude. It was great.
Yeah.
Everybody was welcoming.
The one place you posted was interesting, where you were driving through the market in the water. You were cruising through on a boat.
Yeah, so like
by like hat stands.
Yeah, so like a flea market.
Yeah.
But the aisles are canals, and the flea market takes up 300 acres.
Yeah.
And you just cruise through these canals and you just do your shopping on 600 horsepower longtail boats. Obviously, they're not utilizing that power, but the guy's like, if I can put it there, I'm gonna do it,
As we do.
Right.
Yeah, some things are multicultural, I guess.
Right.
If I can have the power, I'm gonna have it.
But never utilize it.
Yes, exactly. Talk to the Hellcat owners.
Yeah.
They're the same.
Right. So, no, that was cool. Like I said, it was pretty much like a flea market, and the etiquette on the waterways was pretty much like the same here, mutual respect. Like in the canals aren't any wider than, I would say, they're not even a 2-lane road wide with no shoulder.
It looked like 20 feet.
Yeah. But, you're bumping boats and you're waving at the guy like, hey, sorry, I hit your boat,
Mm-hmm.
Glad you didn't sink.
Yeah, kind of like being in like New York City. It's like, yeah, I bumped your car a little bit.
Right.
My bad.
Oh, no problem. That happened last week too.
Yeah, it's normal. Trade
Right.
paint a little here and there.
Yeah. So no, that was definitely really cool, and that's the areas where all the dogs were too. So the floating market, man, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's like a Asian Venice, Italy.
Yeah, and some of those areas, like down there in the canals, it's pretty humbling because those people are real down on their income.
I'd imagine.
Old houses, old people have been doing it their whole life, selling stuff in the market. But
did you see much homelessness though? Like, because that's an interesting thing too. Because in the U.S., when you get to that level, you end up just fully homeless.
Right.
But maybe they don't end up actually completely out on the streets. They just end up in very shanty.
I would say, like,
I guess it's hard to know if the streets are just filled with people.
Yeah, but a lot of it's, they've owned that house for so many years, and they just never had an ambition or prospered out of it. But homelessness, I didn't actually do a lot of activities inside the city of Bangkok. I was busy doing other stuff, but where I was, not a lot no homeless. Like, you didn't see the bum on the corner.
Yeah.
No one was panhandling.
That's an interesting culture difference too, because you imagine somebody's taking care of that person when they fall down to that level and helps them back up. Because,
right.
I mean, in the U.S., any corner has a panhandler.
For sure. Yeah.
And it's obviously extremely sad.
If they're panhandling over there in Thailand, they're selling you something. Mm-hmm. They're not just asking for a handout. They're selling you something.
Interesting.
So
that makes a lot more sense. That the panhandlers end up just being street merchants.
Yeah, street vendors of some sort. They're selling you something.
Interesting. Did you buy anything cool?
Yeah, we went and bought an American flag that we took to the racetrack.
Nice.
And
have all the right stars and everything.
It did.
Right amount of stripes.
It did. When I showed up, it was a hole in the wall type place, and I asked the guy via Google Translate. I was like, "Hey, do you take Visa?" And I should have known he didn't, because it didn't look like he was going to take Visa. He's like, "Nope, we only take Baht, and that's their money over there." I'm like, all right, dude, I don't have no body either because I gave it all to the guy that I'm with to, buy food and stuff like that for us so we didn't have to hassle with it. So I gave him all of my Thailand money. So I asked the guy, I was like, all right, dude, do you take like US dollar? He's like, nope, no US dollar. I'm like, okay. So I stepped outside, brainstormed a little bit. I'm like, all right, this flag and the pole was $7. In the US, it would be about $25. So I walked in and I was like, how about $25 US? Oh yeah, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm. I'd imagine when I went to Mexico, they wanted US dollars.
Yeah.
But that was also quite some time ago.
Right. I don't think he wanted to deal with the exchange and all that, but when you pay triple the price for the flag, the guy's not going to turn down the money.
Yeah.
Or he didn't.
I mean, it only makes sense to buy an American flag with US currency.
Ooh.
It only makes sense.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. If I did it any other way, man, we wouldn't be talking about it.
It just wouldn't feel right.
Right. Okay.
It only adds up.
That just makes me feel a little bit better about the whole ordeal.
Did you see any, what do they do in the Super Bowl T-shirts? You ever hear that? Like, during the Super Bowl, they print both sides.
Oh, yeah.
And then whoever loses, they just send them to like a foreign country.
They do that or they incinerate them. I didn't see any I should probably get that.
It's like, wait, that team didn't win.
That would be pretty cool to see. I'm gonna go back over there for a little bit more lengthy time, and I want to get a little bit more into the Bangkok culture.
Yeah.
That was one cool thing I seen. We drove through it and around it, but here in the United States, where downtown is because there's skyscrapers. You're like, that's downtown because there's high-rise buildings. Yeah. Bangkok, dude, there's high-rise buildings everywhere. Bangkok's probably, don't quote me on this, but 100 square miles. And literally there's skyscrapers, just sporadically all over the place.
Zoning laws.
Yeah, no, I doubt they
had
had
build one in your yard.
Yeah, for sure, because they were everywhere, and it was pretty cool to see.
I bet.
Because like I said, I'm used to seeing there's downtown.
Yeah, there's one big building, then they kind of all
right. No,
every downtown kind of looks the same.
Yeah, no,
from a distance.
Not over there.
Interesting.
There's skyscrapers everywhere.
Yeah, so your plan is to go back for a longer time, iron out the truck.
Are
you going to bring anybody with you, or are you just solo?
I'm going to go over solo this next time, but I am building a team here that's going to help us, via the internet over there. So we're going to rent the track for a couple days, talk to some guys over here and get the chassis figured out, send videos, remote tuning it.
Yeah.
So once we get that figured out, I want to set a couple records over there, and I want to win a few races myself. Mm-hmm. And then I think I'll be ready to bring the truck over here.
Yeah, so go there for their racing season when there's some stuff to do. Is there multiple tracks, or is it just kind of that one?
There's one major track.
Everybody's seen that major track where the stands are behind the burnout box and then in the air.
Right.
They're kind of they look like they're just on a shipping container almost.
They're concrete, but it's like a Coliseum type.
Yeah, which is cool.
Dude, it's
you're up high looking down.
Oh yeah, you get 1,200 people in there, and they're all cheering on you when you're walking in. It's holy smokes, this is awesome.
That's cool. It's a cool way that they have it.
Yeah.
They're really close to the track, it looks like, too.
Oh yeah, you're right over the deal.
Yeah.
You're turbo wheel to the face, right over the deal.
Yeah, right there,
Yeah. There's one other track, but it's not the popular track, but there is one other track. And they're building another new track, and they're saying that they're going to bring in a lot of the right proper track equipment, a drag, rotator, glue.
So they're trying to step up their racing over there, which is an interesting thought.
At the new track, they are.
Because that's not a common thing you hear much in the U.S. There's a couple new tracks going up.
Yeah.
But you don't hear many tracks being built.
No. And you don't hear many tracks we should probably start developing our track a little bit better,
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So they're going to bring in, they're trying to push their program to the next level for sure.
Yeah. How do they? So like, what do you do for tires there? What do you have on that?
They all import them all from the U.S.
Okay, so
and they're expensive.
I would imagine.
2 Mickey Thompson ET Pro will cost me $1,800.
Oh,
yeah.
That does not. It's not a cheap hit.
No, because the tires that were on the truck were. He said they weren't up to par. I was like, dude, I'd run those. He's like, no, we need new ones. I'm like, all right, how much are they? Like $1,000? He's like, no, I found some for $1,800. I was like, all right, well, what are you gonna do when you're halfway across the country and you're looking at the price on your phone? You're like, yeah, dude, that's a $400 tire. That's
Probably could have sold the old ones at least. Somebody will always take the hand-me-downs.
Someone will take the hand-me-downs, but at that point, it was a hit in the gut.
Yeah.
They import a lot of stuff from the U.S., and it's expensive.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a shame that's probably hurting their drag racing more than anything.
For sure.
Being unable to import things for the cost of just getting them there.
Yeah. That's definitely hurts their, because they asked me for quotes for different stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it's this. Like, yeah, that's way too much. I'm like, that's at wholesale price, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's not including shipping. They're like, yeah, we can't. Like, darn it.
Just make it work kind of deal.
I won't have a parachute on my truck. Darn it.
Yeah, right. So what's the concept of doing it for? How do I say this by not sounding like I only do things for content? You know what I mean? Like, what's the, obviously it's just for the joy of it. Yes, but also there's a level of doing things for media, and most people have a somewhat media goal in mind.
I want to connect the world.
Maybe that's my brain that is in media world.
You've been in that mindset for years. You know what I mean? It's not a bad thing. Media wise, obviously we all want more customers. We all want more followers. That's one goal, but I also want to connect the world globally in motorsports. I want to go to places like that people see on YouTube. They're like, oh, that's great. Thailand's cool. But, like, for instance, let's use CB Media for example, okay? He's done it for so long, it's hard to relate with him because he's produced the content for so much, for so long.
Yeah, like he has friends in Thailand and he knows everyone, and it's not the same as the first timer.
Exactly. So like with my audience, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. That's so cool. That's so unique." We love to see this perspective of it. Like, I haven't produced or edited all my videos yet, but my videos coming out, they're going to be, we're here in the garage, putting the transmission in the truck, like United States style stuff. You know what I mean? Like you working in your garage on your car and, then going out to the track. Like, I want to bring that aspect to it. I don't want to bring the aspect of, hey, I'm already here at the track. I don't know these guys, but they're all racing type of deal.
Makes sense.
I want to bring the behind the scenes into it.
Yeah, like a little bit more of like the community of the actual wrenchers.
Yeah.
Not just the miscellaneous car spotter.
Right.
I guess you could say.
Right. Or, oh, I know this video is going to get a lot of views because it's cool drag racing that no one's ever seen before. Well, let's talk about the guy that spent hundreds of hours trying to get to the track.
Yeah. Well, they have some pretty cool forms of motorsports. Like, yes, you did drag racing, which we have a lot of.
Right.
But then they have like those rice tractors and like...
Yeah, dude, I haven't even gotten into that.
The boats, the river boats are like their whole thing.
Right.
Like they have unique, even like their drag racing of like semis. We have a little bit of, but not quite that.
Right.
So it's an interesting community there as well.
Yeah. And like I said, I just want to bring the perspective of I'm just average Daniel over doing some unaverage stuff, and like I said, I'm not taking discredit from anybody. everyone produces their content differently. I just want to bring it down to a level that is obtainable and that's consumable. So
makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah.
And even to touch on a different form of motorsports, you were pretty involved with the guys with the snowmobiles.
Oh,
which is the weirdest thing.
Oh yeah.
If you've never seen snowmobile drag racing,
yeah,
it doesn't actually make sense when you watch it.
It doesn't.
Because it looks like the weirdest thing ever going down a prep track.
It's cool though.
It's very cool.
It is.
It's like a motorcycle, but not.
And there's a lot that goes into those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into those. No, that was just actually that was a gig that I picked up from sick week when I broke down with my little Cushman. I had some voltage issues, and one of the snowmobile guys reached out, and he's like, "Hey, have you ever tried a drill battery?" And I was like, "No, that might help, So we got to talking, blah blah blah. He's like, he just reached out to me and wants me to come and film their snowmobiles. So snowmobile drag racing.
Yeah, it's an odd thing on a track.
On a track.
Not, not in the snow.
No.
Actually on a track.
Not a track, but a rubber belt.
Yes.
Rubber belt.
But like on like a drag strip.
On a drag strip.
On like a track, but on a rubber belt.
Yeah, dude, and they're running.
Don't they put wheels in the front too?
Yeah, skateboard wheels.
Yeah, they put skateboard wheels in the front. They put a rubber track on it.
Yeah, like ABOC 12 bearings.
Have they ever seen motorcycles? They could just drive motorcycles.
They could.
Can they even do a burnout in it?
Yeah, they sketched a belt
because there's no front brakes.
No.
So you kind of just like yeah, you can't do like the motorcycle thing where you like lean 100 degrees to both sides and get both. Yeah.
So that's been a pretty cool gig that I've been doing this year is following the snowmobile guys. And they're doing no prep. It is no prep.
Yeah.
They're running like 530s.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's like a fast one's like 490s.
Shit.
On a snowmobile.
Yeah.
With skateboard wheels. Rollerblade wheels.
Yeah, that's probably faster than the manufacturer says those wheels should go.
Yeah.
That's probably a little out of the comfort zone of what the bearing should be doing.
Probably so. 150, 160 miles an hour.
I mean, it's like a 1-inch bearing on those things.
Yeah, there's not much to it.
Yeah, you get those things hot.
And that's one thing I think every drag racer should do is walk the track. But with the snowmobiles, like we walk the track because you don't want to hit a pothole with that.
Yeah.
So no, the snowmobile's been cool.
That's such an interesting thing. And they were running at NPK, weren't they?
Yeah.
So they're at No Prep Kings.
Yeah.
How do you tech a snowmobile? How does like someone like John Sears tech a snowmobile?
John, tune in. Comment below how you would tech that snowmobile.
Who techs a snowmobile? Do you just like hope that they understand more than you? Because like, if anybody's looking at a snowmobile for tech, like, maybe you just have to hope that they have their gear on, like a motorcyclist.
I think it's one of those things where you're like, I don't know anything about this. You know more about this than I do. Do you feel safe? Yeah. All right. You're good to go.
Is it safe? Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Good. So it's kind of like if you act the part, you just kind of like slide in,
Yeah, if you show up to a drag strip with your snowmobile, somehow they'll just let you run.
Yeah, and your gear. Yeah. You're like, hey, I got some motorcycle leathers and your helmet. And you're like, I'm going to ride this snowmobile.
Yeah, like, 490s.
All right, bud. You have fun with that.
Yeah. A 490 is like 140 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe more, depending on how you 60 foot.
And they're turbocharged, nitrous, 2 strokes. They have a variety of them that we're working with. So
such a weird thing.
It is.
It just shows people will legitimately race anything they own.
Yeah. Have you ever seen snowmobiles on water?
Yeah.
They race on water.
They just drive them around on water.
Yeah.
They just like cruise around.
I would sink. I would get like 5 feet out and that thing would just fall in.
It's just literally likely men will just take anything into the wrong environment.
Any motorized vehicle is like, what can we do with this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even like around here, the snowmobile engines are similar to what they use for those backpack glider things, where you like literally have like a parachute and a backpack with like a little fan, and you're just like, well, I'm just gonna go fly today.
How do they take off?
They just kind of like catch a little wind and get like a walking start with your backpack on, and you just kind of like
like out west where I originated from, we jump off like a little bit of a hill and like get started.
Maybe they jump off like the roof of a car. I don't know. I've never seen them start. I've only ever seen them cruising around.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
It just seems like a lot to be like, okay, like I got a fan on my back. Here we go.
I don't know, man.
I don't think I could do it.
No.
I don't know if I trust myself quite enough.
I don't think I could do that. Not with just a backpack on. Well, at least you still got the parachute, though.
Yes.
So if the fan stops, like you're at least the parachute's already pulled.
Yeah, you coast. You can coast to a nice, smooth landing, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. So any technical difficulties on that motorized vehicle, you're moderately safe.
And I've been skydiving before, but I just don't know if I would do the whole motorized backpack. Started like a lawnmower, like pull start.
Leaf blower.
Yeah, like it's like a.
Yeah.
Seems sketchy.
It does. It does.
I don't know. Being in the air is always a little questionable when you're on small.
I haven't adventured much in the air.
It's probably best.
Probably best not.
Probably best to keep all four on the ground. I try to keep all four wheels at, I'm kind of a four-wheel guy.
What about three wheels?
Two in the front is semi-okay. But if the back wheel is what drives, then you just have less traction. So it kind of defeats the purpose a little bit.
But what about a 10 horsepower three-wheeled tuk-tuk going 2,700 miles?
That sounds cool. Is the front wheel the drive wheel, though?
Yeah, no. Two rear, it's chain driven.
Yeah.
It's chain driven.
Because I thought some of those had like a front wheel drive with like everything in it. Okay, so what's the deal on that? So you have one here, and then you also have one there?
I've made an American version of one.
So the tuk-tuk, for people that don't know, is a
three-wheeled Cushman.
Three-wheeled. They're in India.
Yep.
And they're mostly designed to drive through Indian terrain.
Yeah, like across the city or, down the block.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a few that pretend to be taxis or are taxis, but not like long trip. That guy doesn't do 2,700 miles in that thing in a year.
Yeah. So you built one here.
Yep.
With the goal of doing a drag and drive.
Yeah, we've ran into some issues.
And it was less than a success. So your goal is to now do another one in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Where you don't know anyone.
Don't know their language.
And don't speak the language.
India has over 100 different dialects of their language.
Yeah.
So every village has their own deal.
Great.
Yeah.
And your goal is to go from
the bottom of India
to the top.
To the Himalayas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
In 27 days, 2,700 miles. Yeah. 10 horsepower.
10 horsepower.
Over the mountains, through the woods.
10's plenty.
Maybe.
10 horsepower is
Depends
plenty.
on the gearing of it, which we can't change.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
But I would imagine once you get out of the city areas, you don't see as many of them. I'd imagine they're a city vehicle. I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Never done it before.
I've never, yeah.
Like if we get out in the wilderness and we see an elephant, the elephant's looking at us like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what are you doing here type of deal. Yeah. And there's going to be elephants.
So your plan is to go north.
North. Due north.
Yeah.
Due north.
Isn't that Pakistan north of it?
Northwest, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, northwest. And then you got China on the other side of the Himalaya Mountains.
Yeah, and Nepal right there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out my geography here a little bit. I'm not super familiar with the Indian coastline.
Well, I'm about to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaving in September. Here's the hiccup, though. Or not the hiccup, but here's kind of like the side deal. So I couldn't recruit anyone from the United States to go with me. Or sorry, I couldn't recruit anyone in my inner circle to go with me because they're not crazy enough.
Yeah.
Or they couldn't get the time off work or whatever their excuse was.
Makes sense. I mean, not many people are prepared for an Indian extravaganza.
Yeah. But I found a guy on Facebook. Complete stranger.
Is he an American?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a traveling nurse.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So I just randomly found a guy on Facebook and we started talking and I was like, hey, have you heard about this? Like, yeah, I've heard about it. I've been wanting to do it. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it. I'm like, but put your money where your mouth is first.
Craigslist used to have a section for this. I think.
I think they did.
Man seeking man for Indian extravaganza.
The man seeking man.
For a trip across India.
Oh, God.
That's why they took down Craigslist. It was connecting too many people for this kind of thing.
Gosh, dang it.
I don't think they took down Craigslist.
They probably did. I haven't been on it long enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
But, no. Yeah, so
he put up some money already, so it's
yeah.
already a joint venture.
It's a joint adventure.
Okay.
And we're meeting in Dubai first. And it's gung-ho from there. I've been talking to him for like the last 4 months. You know, we talk off and on or whatever.
Yeah.
We were supposed to meet, but then he had other arrangements. We weren't able to meet in the States.
I'm going to say the most dangerous person you meet on this trip is probably not the guy that you bring from America
Probably
with
not.
you. Is probably already in India.
Yeah, but have you ever went to another country with a complete stranger for 27 days and you're in literally 25 cubic feet with a person?
I mean, your guys are going to become
Real good friends.
Really close.
Yeah.
Whether it's friends or not, it's going to be really close.
Within the first 30 minutes of talking to him, not like verbally, I've never even heard his voice, but like messaging him, I told him I'm going to fight him.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm just going to lay this out there. You and I are going to fight.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to throw something at you. You're going to throw something at me. We're going to get upset with each other. But in the end of the day, we're still in this together.
I mean, yeah, you kind of have to make it there regardless.
Yeah. But I laid it out in the beginning. I'm like, dude, if you can get past that, then we're good. Black eye, third day in.
Yeah. I don't think you have to worry about like the guy smelling or anything either, though, because like from my understanding, India smells. Yeah. So I don't think.
When I asked him, I was like, "Hey, dude, is like your hygiene okay?" He's like, "I'm a traveling nurse." Like,
and you're going to India. It's literally known for poop on the streets. Its main attraction is piles of human and cow poop on the streets.
I'm gonna send you a picture.
It's their native thing to poop in the streets.
Dude, pooping
maybe people are going to be mad at me for saying that.
Yeah, but pooping in Thailand, that was weird too.
Yeah? Did they also poop in the streets?
No. But they don't have toilet paper.
Ah.
And every toilet has a hose hooked to it.
That's nice of them.
You figure that one out.
Yeah, that's very nice of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure India is not much better. You're gonna go to Dubai, one of the most expensive and like beautiful cities in the world, and then you're gonna go to India right after,
8 hours after.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
This is great. This is awesome.
And again,
Bugattis, Lamborghinis, tuk-tuk, and a camel.
And I only talk from third-hand experience from watching years of Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
And watching years of documentaries and stuff and Top Gear traveling.
Yeah.
So I don't really know for certain. Obviously, I'm just racially profiling an entire country, which...
They have 100 different dialects, dude. Like, you're not getting them all.
Yeah. They're all not listening. But it'll be interesting.
It will be. It will be. But that's one of my goals is, it's a form of motorsports.
Yes.
It's an adventure. And I want to connect the world.
A lot of that will happen. It's form of motorsports a little loosely.
Yeah.
Using a tuk-tuk across the country.
Yeah, but dude, we don't know what we're going to get into. We might get into a drag race.
Yeah.
No, we will drag race. I'm going to find another tuk-tuk. I'll drag race them.
I mean, of course, it's the universal language.
Right.
That transcends all languages is a drag race.
True. And turbo sounds. Turbo sounds, globally, they're the same.
They do kind of right across, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong there.
No, they're all
and
the
then,
same.
you know, drag racing, it just kind of right across the board.
Yep.
So September for 27 days.
27 days, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the what's like itinerary of any kind? Is it just like once we get these next miles under our belt, we'll figure it out? Is it like you can't really plan the trip? You kind of just have to hope that each leg
because you don't know
gets you a little farther.
You might have a good day and you might have a bad day, drag and drive style. Dude, you might show up and you might put in 200 miles that day, and the next day you might put in 25 miles.
Yeah.
So there's no telling what we're gonna do.
You might have to abandon the whole vehicle at some point and get a new one.
You may have to. that may be a possibility.
I'm sure it's very possible.
But and just to put it out there, there is a company that does this. And they do 4 to 5 of these a year. So the tuk-tuks are moderately like managed.
Yeah.
But there's still the risk to it. And they blatantly tell you, like, once you leave the starting line, you're on your own, dude. And they tell you in the paperwork.
Good business model.
Yeah. They tell you in the paperwork, like, we have to apply for a visa in India. They say, don't put us down for a reference.
Oh.
Don't call us.
Yeah. That's a very good business model.
Yeah.
It's like, you're on your own, bud.
Yeah. So the route that we're deciding to take. Have you ever watched like the most dangerous roads, like on TV?
I
think there was a show about it.
Yeah, I've watched some videos of pretty dangerous roads as well.
We've researched a couple of them.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
You know, one of the most dangerous ones, though, I think is like local to here.
Is it?
19
more
deaths than any other road.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, it's not far from here. If you really want to see some live action.
Hey, as long as you ain't got to go very far,
the
cost of the video will go down.
Yeah, but so what's the overarching goal? Is just a good time and show people?
Yeah, good time and just produce content.
What about for self-protection? Obviously, I'd imagine they don't have the Second Amendment.
No.
I mean, the Indian Constitution is actually pretty good, but I don't know what their Second Amendment is.
I'll look into it.
A lot of their Constitution is based off of the American Constitution, from my understanding. And it's just a little bit more expanded.
You've done more research than I have.
Not on India exactly. More just constitutions of countries.
Okay.
I don't know their second.
I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can pack. Oh, I'm not flying with any arsenal. I'm not flying with a knife or anything.
You can acquire something. Maybe
I am going. Yeah, I'll acquire.
That would be the goal. Yeah.
But here's the thing: what if a knife you can't transport from one state to another state?
Well,
then we're in trouble, dude. Now we're going to jail.
Well, yes. I mean, every place is concealed carry unless you get caught.
True.
But you just don't want to get caught.
Right.
But I'd rather be alive in jail than
well, and I've told the guy that I'm
firearm and dead.
And the guy that I'm going with, he has agreed to that. He's like, hey, dude, if we got to spend the night in jail, we'll do it. I'm like, all right, cool.
I would imagine also being considered a journalist is usually a safe bet as well.
Yeah, but our visa
journalists get good.
Our visa says tourist.
Oh, yeah, true.
They did have the box for journalists, but I thought that would have been a little bit more political.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was like, I am journalist, but I'm not.
Yeah, there's still that Wall Street Journal guy.
Yeah.
You know.
He's more official than I am.
Captured in other countries. So
right.
Being journalist is dangerous. But
it
you
is.
also get a little bit more
leniency?
Maybe U.S. protection.
Okay.
They tend to protect journalists a little more than just private citizens.
Well, they do require an international driver's license. I did get one of those.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder how their enforcement is of that. Because, you know, like in Mexico, if you're a tourist and you get pulled over by a cop, they shake you down.
Yeah.
India, maybe you're probably going to be going to a very low tourist locations.
Oh
I would
yeah.
imagine.
Oh yeah, dude. We're going
0 to
zero.
1 tourists a year.
Yeah. We're definitely steering away from those places. Like we don't want anything to do with that. Like if you take the US dollar, not my guy.
Yeah. Try to get out of that as much as possible.
Yep.
But then how are you going to eat personally?
Oh gosh, dude.
Are you going to just bring chicken nuggets?
I have no idea.
Just Tyson nuggets?
But there are a couple Universal restaurants, McDonald's is global.
I honestly don't know how many are in
I don't know either.
the backwoods of India.
But if we get off the beaten path, who's to say there is one out there?
There might be.
I have no idea.
I mean, that would be the guiding beacon of hope across the world.
But here's the thing, that's the mental challenge to it. Because I'm a picky eater. I didn't do too well in Thailand. Like the last 3 days were good because I finally figured out what I could eat. Mm-hmm. But it's a mental challenge, man.
Yeah.
It's like either you're going to starve or you're going to eat it. I'm like, all right, well. But there's also the possibility of food poisoning.
Yeah, that would be rough.
That'd be rough.
Right. And even the water in general is often questionable in I don't know if they're considered third world, but some of the areas are probably third world-y.
I steer more toward bottled water. I'm like, hey, globally, I think bottled water is good.
Yeah, it's hard to really not be good.
Yeah. So drinking tap water, nah, not going to do it. But like taking a shower and like gargling, shower water or whatever, nah, probably not going to do that either.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I have a regimen here in the States on the food that I like, and I don't steer too far from it. And so it's gonna be a trip.
Well, you ever hear you talking about being a picky eater? You ever hear like Usain Bolt's story of breaking the world record? He woke up the morning of the Olympics, ate some chicken nuggets because it was the only food he trusted that he liked. He ate like microwave Tyson nuggets or something like that.
Okay.
And then broke the record for 100-meter dash with his shoes untied.
Hey.
Just because he's such a beast.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that. I was laughing about the chicken nuggets thing because it's the only food he trusted.
But he trusted it though. And I'll probably stop at the store and get some snacks along the way that I know that I trust. Because there's some brands that are global and they're pretty universal. So if I see that known brand, then I'm going to be like, all right.
Yeah.
I know those potato chips are good.
I know. I'm so curious the difference between Thailand and India, though. I don't know how much is Indian as much as, Thailand, especially, you were in Bangkok, outside of,
English
one of the most known cities in the world.
Yeah, English is the second language. They're importing English stuff.
And now you're talking about, one of the largest populated countries in the world.
By far, yeah.
And that's just a very different thing altogether.
Yeah.
We have a lot in common. We were both ruled by the British at one point, and they also escaped British rule.
And U.S. corporates subcontract a lot to India. So
they started making the iPhones there.
There's that. But that doesn't mean they eat our food.
No.
Not even close.
I'd imagine they don't.
Yeah.
I'd imagine they're a little more heavy on their spices.
And I'm okay with spicy, but Thailand spicy soup, dude, that tastes like dirt water. It was not good.
I wonder if anybody in the comments has been to India because...
Yeah, hey, if you guys have been to India, comment below what your experience was with the food.
Yeah.
Because neither you and I know.
I've eaten Indian food, but I don't consider what I've eaten in the U.S. anything like what I've eaten in India.
Yeah, probably not.
What you would eat in India.
Well, I know with Chinese food, Chinese food that you get in a restaurant, they don't eat that stuff.
Yeah.
Every Chinese food restaurant across the country serves the same stuff.
Are you going to say Taco Bell's not authentic Mexican as well?
No.
Are you going to say their Mexican pizza
No.
is not what they eat in Mexico City?
No. I've been to Mexico a lot. I haven't had a Mexico pizza.
Or a taco Mexican pizza.
No, or a taco salad. Like
it's really just like a flauta. It's
Yeah.
like that they call a pizza because we're in America.
for sure.
It's pretty messed up.
But I don't know, man. We'll see. Because I'm not even gonna try any of the food here. Because I don't want to set that like expectation or like, oh, I know I'll like this, and then when you get there, it's not even there.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'd rather know what I'm getting myself,
I would recommend trying Indian food in the U.S. It is probably the best food.
Okay.
If I was going to point at a cultural food,
it'd be that one.
That one's probably my favorite.
Okay.
Italian food's
What's the base
really
of it?
good as
What's
well.
the base of the plate, though? Rice, soup?
Rice.
Okay.
Chicken that's like in soup.
Okay.
Is like if you get like butter chicken.
Okay.
The way that they usually serve it local here is like a big bowl of rice.
Okay.
A soupy chicken that has like chunks of chicken, and then you scoop that onto the rice. So the rice gets the seasoning from the chicken. It's just white rice.
I can do that.
Highly recommend.
But if you don't serve the rice and you just serve it with soup, I don't know.
I would recommend trying it from a good Indian place. It's next level stuff.
But man, that's just kind of like oof.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll have to hear that story after.
For sure.
After it all comes.
We're definitely coming. We'll have a Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah, you'll have to come back. So, what's the plan, man? Where can people find you? How can they contribute? Because I know, obviously this stuff costs a lot. People are always trying to.
So, one thing that we're doing with this India trip is. It's pretty near and dear to my heart and a lot to the motorsports is we lost Lizzie Musey a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I haven't actually talked about that. It's very sad. Yeah, I haven't. I just haven't touched on it on this podcast.
Well, she was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. Mm-hmm. My mom was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. It's an uncurable breast cancer. My mom lost a battle. Lizzie lost a battle to it. So we're raising money.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So any company that wants to advertise with me on this trip, you guys can buy it by the day. You can buy it by the week. You hit me up on Facebook, Daniel Green. And any company that advertises with me, I'll match up to $20,000. So there could be a possibility of total of $40,000 donated to a breast cancer I haven't picked the company yet because I want to do the research. We know there's some not so good companies.
I was actually going to ask how you plan to do that because you could do a lot of this. I think about in two ways with the donations. You can either donate to a family that's struggling directly, or you can donate to a research center.
I want to do a little bit of both, but I want it to be more on a community level and not a national level.
Makes sense.
So I want to make sure that the dollars that we raise is going directly into the community of the of the people that are diagnosed with breast cancer.
We local to me where I grew up, they do a surf contest every year called the Rel Sun.
Okay.
Same deal. They donated to breast cancer.
Yeah.
But they find a family every year in need, which is a very interesting route that they take that I've always found interesting.
And it's definitely, if you don't have insurance, dude, it's definitely a wicked ride.
Because they help, it's so great to help the research, and I also feel that's important, but to hand it to, a small individual is also very cool.
Totally agree.
And I wouldn't take anything away from either. Obviously, they're both unreal.
Right. And both of it is expensive, but to get a direct impact, more toward a family.
It's a cool thing. It's just, my sister actually just competed in the surf contest last week.
Oh, that's cool.
She does it every year. So it's a cool deal.
So, the India trip, 27 days, companies can buy a day of advertising, a week of advertising. If a company wants to come in and advertise the whole month, you're more welcome to, and I'll match $20,000. I'll put $20,000 of my own up. So let's get at it.
Sick, man. Very cool. So, well, it's always good hanging out.
Yeah,
it was fun.
This was a cool episode.
Yeah. So guys, check him out. Follow him on Facebook because it's usually just worldwide shenanigans at this point. It was just local Midwest drag stuff, but now it's kind of all over the place.
Now we've gone worldwide. Facebook is Daniel Green. Instagram is Danny_Diesel 2, and then YouTube is Danny Diesel.
Cool.
So,
I'll put some links in the description as always, but thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next time.
See you next time.